Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Earlier today, actually about 2 hours ago, I made a video on a very, I would say, disturbing event that occurred in Ukraine. And that is the president of Ukraine, Zelensky. He signed some documents, that's how they call them. It's a euphemism for something else. In a video I made, which is called like so, Zelensky signs dangerous documents to cleanse our state from persons with Russian citizenship. So it's me right here with receiving a ball or something. I'm ready to get it, or passing a ball, basketball ball. Anyway, this is the video I made here, where I explained what, in my assessment, are the consequences of this documents that he signed. And the documents are about revoking the Russian citizenship, the Ukrainian citizenship, or some consequences to Ukrainian citizens that have dual citizenship, which have Russian citizenship and Ukrainian citizenship. And if the state or Zelensky considers that those people are bad dudes or something, he's gonna do something to them. Unclear what, but he said that he's gonna clean the state of these people who are with the aggressor. So that reminded me of some other things, and I made that video. I'm very satisfied with what I did in that video. So if you want to get more about that, go ahead. He didn't provide too much detail in that one, Zelensky. Now, we got more details about what is he's gonna do in this article that I have here with these people who are considered to be, by Zelensky or whomever, bad dudes. Okay? So, this is the article. And then the article is from Ukrainska Pravda. It's from today, February 4th, 2023. And this is the title: Zelensky revokes citizenship of several politicians. You say, well, why, how, where? Well, this is one of them, I'm guessing. A number of politicians from Viktor Yanukovych time. Now, Viktor Yanukovych time, if you don't remember who that was, he was that Ukrainian president that was overthrown through a violence in 2014 on the Maidan with the help of outside, how do you call them, services. So he, Viktor Yanukovych, was the president-elect, democratically elect, legitimate of Ukraine, who was overthrown, armed insurrection, okay, by some people who we would call in the United States, if something like this would occur, traitor. If someone overthrows the legitimate government and democratically elected government of the United States of America with or without, in this case with the help of, let's say, Chinese or I don't know, French or something like this, we would call these guys traitors. But it's okay. Those guys were considered legitimate by the democratic and the free world immediately after they took power. So Yanukovych, just so you know who Viktor Yanukovych is. A number of politicians from Viktor Yanukovych's time, all of whom hold Russian citizenship, have had their Ukrainian citizenship revoked by President Volodymyr Zelensky. So that is attacking a group based on group membership. Can you think of another time in history when something like this happened? When they were taken out of a certain country and expelled because they were, I don't know, having Russian citizenship? You remember? Okay, I will go in the other video because I explained that, but I think it was in 1930s and early 40s in the previous century, somewhere around and in Germany. Among those whose Ukrainian citizenship has been revoked are the following people: and Andriy Kluyev, former Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council; Dmytro Tabachnik, former Minister of Education; Alexander Klimenko, former Minister of Revenues and Duties; Vitaly Zakharchenko, former Minister of Internal Affairs; Alexander Yakimenko, former head of the Security Service of Ukraine. He would not stop here, Zelensky. Not only that he would strip them of the Ukrainian citizenship, And then what? They're going to go to Russia? Maybe they already are in Russia. I don't know. In addition, Viktor Baransky, member of the Odessa City Council from the opposition platform for Life political party, has been added to the list along with other people. So that means these guys pick whomever they want. Everyone from the list has Russian citizenship and Ukrainian, right? Yes. Later, David Arkamia, head of the Servant of the People faction in the Ukrainian parliament, confirmed this information. He stated that Zelensky has revoked Ukrainian citizenship of, and I'm quoting, traitors who were a few of the columns of Yanukovych's regime. How about the ones that overthrew Yanukovych's regime? Weren't they traitors either? Among them are Andriy Bababa, and I'm quoting, less public people from their political orbit. So that means those people plus other people, I don't know, 3,000, 20 million, I don't know. Who cares? They are bad dudes, according to the Ukrainian president. Now, and I'm quoting, the next step, okay, the next step of this little, punish of group membership, the next step will be imposing sanctions on them, arresting and seizing all their property, corporation rights, and other assets for the benefit of the state. I have to tell you that, unfortunately, I know another government, if you want to call it this way, did the same thing with another group, if you remember, in 1930s, and they arrest, they seize their property, they had no rights, okay, and they were expelled in other countries. Remember that group? All right, I'm pretty sure you remember it. Everyone who possesses information about the property of the mentioned people, report this to this email. Blah, 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 blah. The same thing over there in 1930s. Whomever possesses information, about certain kind of people doing certain kind of things, please report it to Gestapo. All right? Background. President Volodymyr Zelensky stated in his evening speech that he had signed documents. Well, they call them documents, but I wonder how Adolf called his. Regarding people who were found to have Russian citizenship. And I didn't know in previous article, and I made a video about, they didn't give too much detail. The details that they gave was that they will cleanse and secure the state of this kind of people. Well, and they said there are more things to do. I didn't know the details, but I said I will let you know as soon as I find any details about what exactly these guys have in mind. Because they said they will coordinate and will synchronize with other jurisdictions. Those were the exact words. Synchronize jurisdiction, coordinate. Maybe it was a different word than coordinate, but that was a synonym. Anyway, and these are the exact word, anyway, this is the next step. It's more than this. I guarantee you it's more than this. And now let me tell you why this is dangerous. Let me tell you why this is, I mean, you know why is it dangerous, but let me tell you this. Remember Stalin, Joseph Stalin, the Georgian dictator of Soviet Union, died, today is the 5th? No, it's February. Oh no, tomorrow is the 5th. He died on the 5th of March anyway, 1953 I think he died. So anyway, he was born on 20th or 19th of December. Anyway, so how do I know that? I don't know. Thank you very much for telling me that. Just kidding. So anyway, he's with me. Pump. So what happened? Stalin, when he started his purges, right? Purges. He did not know names. He knew about what? The people around him. How many people do you know in your life by name? 50? 53? 72? 100? I don't think you know more than 150 people by name. Now imagine that guy, a dictator, Stalin, being over there alone with his clique. How many people does he know? He knows the people of the members of the departments, and that's about it. How many? 20, 50, 100, 3,000? Do you know how many people were purged? Millions. Millions. Do you think that Stalin purged them? When he was given the list from someone else, the chief of the secret police, NKVD, okay, NKVD, one of the two, like that was the parent of KGB. When they was given, let's say by Kaganovich, You know who Kaganovich was? Just check him out. Look at his bio. Anyway, so when I was given another Russian, like the Georgian Stalin, given the list to sign the gulag or death penalty and all this, he didn't know those guys personally. He didn't know that could have been his cousin over there, or his third niece. He didn't know that. He didn't think, oh, I know this guy. There were millions of people, so he signed it. Now who can put together those lists? Not Kaganovich. The same. Kaganovich knew his people. Those lists were coming from the terrain, from the field. Who did that? It was some commissars who took care information from others, and do you think they did not pay back? The payback. Yeah, you said something about me. Now I have the power. I'm gonna take your property. Pop, I put you on the list. Hey, baby doll, you wanna with me? No, I'll put you on the list, baby doll. Okay. Many things like this happen. You don't believe me? You don't know what a human race is then. If you lived in this, pampered society that are some of the Western countries, this is a very, very, very artificial society, just so you know. We are civilized because there are rules and punishments. Okay? Because if you would let people behave as they behave, you would see a lot of bad things happening. But we form these societies, and they're kept together, not because otherwise we wouldn't have police. But we have police, we have laws to keep us where we are, and thank God for that. Okay? So we are animals, but we civilized supposedly. Look at for instance, if something happens, look at the COVID-19 thing. Remember when it was the scare about the COVID pandemic and all that? Do you remember that there was no toilet paper? There were not certain kind of foods. Who took all the toilet paper? Our civilized fellow citizens. Why? Did they care about us? Remember, there were certain things that you couldn't find on a shelf. Why? Because you have certain kind of people, a lot of them among us, who rushed to the store and bought tons of whatever, and you didn't have it. Your family didn't have it. So those are the civilized people that we're talking about. So if you want an example, that's one of them. And you guys know who you are if you are watching. Anyway, people who just went over there and filled half of their garage with toilet paper, and nobody else had in the neighborhood or whatever. I'm just giving you toilet paper because I know people like that. I know. So anyway, those are the civilized human beings. Because of a scare. Remember, if someone will invade, imagine what these people would do to you. So let's put Stalin and all those guys. So we are as we are. So do you think that this with Zelensky right now? Do you think Zelensky is going to be, no, I'm not going to take but only one roll of toilet paper. I'm going to go with it and I'm going to use it and so on. Do you think that's what's going to be? I strongly doubt that. There will be people like these guys and others who will do the same thing, go and put them on the list, and you're gonna people, you got Russian citizenship, even if they don't have Russian citizenship. Do you think they're gonna go through a process of, let's see each? Do you think so? They're just gonna come with lists and bam, bam, bam. How would you know that? How would I find out? Do you think the Americans do they care about that? They would have just jumped off their seat for this little, how they call them, whatever he signed. They use the weasel name. Let me, documents. They signed the documents. Nobody said anything yet, as far as I know, but me about this. Maybe I'm crazy. It's possible. But I don't think that I made a illogical connection between all these things. I mean, you punish a group because members of a group, for what? For being part of that. You have to find guilt that they did something. You don't just name them and say, well, all the Russian citizens, all the people who hold Russian citizenship, besides the Ukrainians, are guilty of that. Is that how it goes? Or those will be the suspects based on being part of a group? That's very dangerous. Very dangerous. Just being, targeted because you're part of a group. I'm not defending the Russians or anything, but remember, if that can happen to the Russians, tomorrow can happen to the Tatars in Ukraine, and the next day could happen to Romanians in the Ukraine, to the Poles in Ukraine, to the Hungarians in Ukraine. That means if they have that mindset, They could just change the name of the person, of the group. They could look at other kind of groups, not ethnic groups. They can look at other kind of groups. I don't know, blue-eyed, small thing, you know, this, no this, you know what I mean? That or not that. And then what are they going to do with that? Because you can look back and say, wait a minute, you didn't say anything about that group, you said something about this group. Also, you have preferential discrimination here. You know, once you open the door, it's hard to close it. And it's not going to be closing by itself. That's the problem. It's not. Do you think that Zelensky say, okay, enough, it's enough. We had to do this now during the war, and now that the war is over, we're going to roll back everything, and we're going to vote, and we're going to be as we were, like, you know, Jesus Christ. No, it's not going to be like that. Why? Because we humans, once we get the power and it's unchecked, you don't want to give it back. Remember, it's like you got 2 ice creams. And someone, give me an ice cream. Oh, fuck. Right? But if you don't have any, you don't have any. But it's hard to give something that you already have versus not having it. Oh, that's why the monks in the monasteries, it's easy to do that. Once you give up to not easy to do that, but once you give up to everything, nobody can ask you for anything because you don't have anything. And staying in that monastery and doing whatever you do, you don't expose yourself to temptation like another person who walks in the street and, my God, ooh, oh, look at that. So who's stronger? The one who's like, oh my, I'm not going to do anything, or the guy who stays over there, He's not exposed to anything, but he's in God. He runs away. He's not exposed to anything. He's like a champion that never participated in any competition. The competition is where is the temptation. No temptation. Anyway, went too far. I think this thing with Zelensky is going to go deeper, deeper, and worse. And the problem is the silence. The silence coming or nothing coming from the free world. This is what bothers me. This is clear. And besides, he is Jewish, Zelensky. He's Jewish. Yermak is Jewish. Reznikov is Jewish, the defense minister. The prime minister, Shmihal, is Jewish. I think that, remember what happened to the Jews in the Second World War and before, how the Germans rounded up and put their Star of David on them to wear and got them and get them out, took their property and so on, and then what happened in the concentration camp? Remember that? I'm not saying this is gonna turn up to go to there, right there. But the Germans did not start right away with that. The Germans, my bad. The Nazis did not start the next day. Okay, round them up, let's go. No, little by little, step by step. Why? Because they want to see if people come along. Anybody opposes them, you know, things are gonna go worse. I'm concerned with these weasels, that's all. Because if they are okay with that, they could be okay with other things too. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.